The vice president of the United States, one of the most appalling people in the country. I want to play a little audio of him talking about. You're not a Catholic, I don't think, Weissmann. I'm stereotyping, but as a cradle Catholic, sometimes we get a little bent out of shape about the adult converts.
I like that cradle con.
Yeah, we're we're the OG here, and so I don't really like being lectured by people that decided that they were Catholic 2 seconds ago. But let's listen to JD Vance's understanding of Catholic doctrine.
But there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country, and then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world.
And then after that, that's very common. Jesus.
It's really funny. I saw that in the Bible. There was a whole sort of like hit list of where you have, with charity, there's a whole sort of waterfall. And
Jesus
immigrants come last.
Yeah, right. Bethlehem first, Egypt last. It was a very common thing. So he got made fun of on the internet for this. And our vice president was tweeting a lot yesterday. He was tweeting, if you don't agree with me, just Google Ordo Amoris. I did Google Ordo Amoris. I think he should Google it. I think he needs to take a second look at that. Then he said, then he went after the British guy that does This Is Politics UK, Rory Stewart, and he said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The problem with Rory and people like him is that he has an IQ of 110 and he thinks he has an IQ of 130. This false arrogance drives so much elite failure over the last 40 years. Who the fuck even knows what IQ numbers are? And then just as a little bonus for him on his tweet storm, he also started weighing in on taking down of the Mark Milley picture from the Pentagon in favor, obviously. And he writes this, the vice president again. Imagine having lived through the last 10 years, the desecration of Washington, Jefferson, Lee, Roosevelt, and even Lincoln, and then drawing the line at Mark Milley. I'm going to read that list one more time in case you missed it. The desecration of Washington, Jefferson, Lee, Roosevelt, and even Lincoln. He just snuck Lee in there, just like right in the middle of the list. Just this little winky wink to the Confederates.
Which one of these things is not like the other? Don't you think, though, Tim? I mean, you're the political guy. I'm the legal guy. So don't you think JD Vance is so irrelevant to the administration in terms of, I mean, he's there for a reason, like the tech bro reason. That's sort of hit the play there. But I mean, he just seems like that is not where the action is in terms of, I think he's going to be a much more traditional vice president, which is like out of sight, out of mind. And this is his effort to somehow be relevant. But it reminds me, he famously was said, the J6 defendants, we obviously need to separate out the violent ones from the nonviolent ones. And about a New York minute later, the president pardoned everybody. So he's just clearly out of the loop and not being sort of respected as part of the team.
Yeah. I mean, he's third at best because we've got the shadow president that we'll get to in a little bit. So that's true. I hear you. I hear everything that you said except for more traditional vice president. Traditional
Yes.
Vice presidents aren't really shit posting. Honestly, if you told me that, like, if the New York Times, Maggie Haberman dropped a story tomorrow and she was like, I've got this big exclusive, and she like gave me a little tip, and it's like JD Vance is actually behind the Twitter feed End Wokeness. He's like tweeting from the vice president's office at End Wokeness. I'd be like, okay, that sounds right to me. And he is indistinguishable from like a random MAGA troll, which is a little unusual, I guess, for the vice president's office.
Fair enough.
Sorry to nitpick. Okay. Sorry to nitpick. Words matter.